You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello.
This is the case of Milton versus Lewis.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day, Your Honor.
Mr. Milton, you have filed a paternity entrapment suit against the defendant. You claim that she is out to pin a baby on you because she's had a childhood crush on you that she just can't get over. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Lewis, you contend that you are 100% certain that Mr. Milton is your daughter Desire's biological father and claim that his meddling girlfriend is the only reason he is denying her. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Milton, explain to me this paternity entrapment suit, right?
Yes.
Explain.
Well, you know, I met the defendant when I was a kid, and I feel like she's been plotting on me ever since then. Like,
Since you were kids?
Yes. You know what? Ever since I was younger, I always had somebody else in my life. And she always came around. She knew that. I always had somebody else, but she always wanted to be around, calling me, coming over, all that. So, like I say, I feel like she had ulterior motives.
So you
from the
believe,
gate.
okay, so you believe she's been pursuing you.
Yes.
And that was part of her plot.
As soon as she got the opportunity, she got it.
Excuse me, ma'am. This is what really happened. His grandmother and my cousin came to my grandmother's house with him and his brother. I was like, ooh, he cute. I told his grandmother that. She introduced us. I started talking to David. And when I started talking to David,
She never left me alone. How about that? She been chasing me ever since.
I
She
have
never
not been
left me
chasing
alone.
him.
As soon
I
as she
have
heard
not-
I was out, like I said, she came running, heels on.
Excuse
Yes.
me, I'm not gonna plot on you. Seriously.
So-
Because when God made one man, he made more.
But you're not even
It's not
with a
that
man.
serious, David.
You're with a woman.
It's not that serious,
You're not even
David.
with a man.
I've been there for my baby.
But you're with a
4
woman,
years.
though.
He-
You're
why you wait
conflicted.
4 years?
So you met when you were younger,
Yes.
and you all liked each other.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you were in other relationships, you say Miss Lewis used to always come around.
Always
Were
come
you coming
around.
around, Miss Lewis?
Yes,
When he
ma'am.
was in other relationships?
Yeah.
Coming
Hello.
around for what? Trying to
No,
be
because
with him?
it was my
Trying to be
family.
with me. She was
My
trying to
family
be with
was
me.
close with his family, and he know his mom loves me, and he know how close his family is with me.
How did you get to the place where you all ended up sleeping together?
Okay, with that, I seen his cousin at my kid's school. She was like, little Dave getting out, because my girlfriend, I've been with her for almost 8 years, ma'am.
Okay.
And she was like, you should have another baby. I want you to have a baby.
It's a plot, you hear?
Hold on, I want you to
my
have,
God.
let me finish. Let me finish, it ain't no plot. Because if I could plot it, it wouldn't be you. Believe that. It wouldn't be you.
Hello.
It would not be you.
Hello.
It shouldn't take 4 years, David.
Okay, hold on. What I believe both of you are testifying to is that this was never even a boyfriend and girlfriend
No.
relationship.
No.
Early, when we were
This
young,
was
that's it.
just a friendship and you knew each other through your family.
Okay, that
Hello.
would be fine. You can say friendship.
And you
that's
had a
fine.
history. Okay, I'm getting to the point now where, all right, you see him again.
Mm-hmm.
The woman you're with says, I want to have another baby.
Yeah, she was like, I want you to have another baby so we can raise together as a newborn. So when that happened or whatever, his cousin was like, David's getting out. I was like, I'm just go over there.
It sounds,
I just want
it
to-
sounds plot-esque.
Okay.
I'm just going to say,
Hello.
Miss Lewis,
Okay, that's fine.
You wanted to have
so I
another
was
baby.
like, okay. So I was like, okay, and we happened to mess around, and he
What-
wasn't
what
even all
woman
that.
does
To
it?
be
She told
honest,
me
it was
after
not all
sex.
that.
She
So I
told
didn't
me
even
it's
know.
not
He
all that,
told
but
me.
why you tell a man after sex, I conceive easy? I'm like, it's over right here. Fun over. End of the
Because
night.
after he told
like
me,
that.
I said, yes, I can.
conceive
I'm
e-
fertile. Like, yes, I can
Wow.
get
No,
pregnant.
she said that, then 3 weeks later, she showed with a diagram, whatever. I was like, wow, the baby.
wait. Okay, Mr. Milton, slow down.
I'm sorry,
Wait,
Your Honor, I'm
slow
sorry.
down, because I want to understand what's going on here.
Okay.
And look, so far, like I said, it's a little plot-esque. I mean, when you start sentences with, that's the plot. That's the plot look.
Okay.
Okay, but really, I mean, I'm being very honest. You talked to your partner, you thought about having another baby, the opportunity presented itself, or either you created the opportunity to go over and see him, and you all have unprotected sex. Is that the testimony?
Yes, you.
All right, and it was sex one time, or how many times? It was just
That
this one day?
First time it was one time. Then after the baby was born, of course, you know, we was getting a little more familiar, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was more than one time. But that's after the baby was
But
born, though.
I'm just concerned with the conception. Thank you for the
It's
extra
one
info.
time. One time, thank you.
But just the conception, this one night that we are concerned with, that deals with Desire's paternity.
Yes.
This night, you go over, you have sex, you don't use protection.
Right. Yeah.
And basically what has been testified is that
She told me she was already pregnant. Basically.
I told him 2 weeks later because I ain't got sick.
The same night we had,
I got sick.
conceived easily. Come on, Your Honor. Basically, already told me she was pregnant.
So you're saying that very night.
She told me she was pregnant.
Oh, he is lying. I waited 2 weeks.
You have sex
lying.
with a man.
Man, because when I went to his mother's house, when I found out I was pregnant, I went to his mother's house with papers, and your mama was happy.
Yeah, with
quit
papers
lying.
3 weeks later.
Quit lying.
The baby's already formed in
Hold
the
on.
stomach.
How long after this night of sex did you realize you were pregnant and have the paper?
It was about 2 weeks, ma'am.
So 2 weeks
Yes.
after
Yes.
you have sex, you find out you're pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Milton, how did you find out Ms. Lewis was pregnant?
She came over to my mother's house with a sonogram and
She had a sonogram when she
Yes.
came to your
yes, my
mother's house.
Yes.
2 weeks after you had
Yes.
sex with her?
I saw a little baby, black and white, in a sonogram picture. She like, don't he look like
Ultrasound.
you? Ultrasound. That's what she said. Then she said, don't the baby look like you? I don't even, he ain't got no face or nothing. How the baby look like you?
He
Like,
is
for real. I swear to
lying.
God, like,
He lying. Not
it's
at
so
no-
crazy,
What
man.
is man
oh
lying?
my God,
Ooh, you
man.
The baby does have a face.
Yeah, and they do got features. Like, yes, you can't
But I
prove
understand what you're saying. You're saying in this small sonogram, you could not see anything at that point.
And she's already saying the baby look like me.
Okay. So I want to understand, Ms. Lewis, so you brought the ultrasound picture for him to see in the black and white photo?
Ma'am, he lying.
I'm not lying. I don't make this stuff up. How can
I
I
did
make
not
this
bring
stuff
no
up like this?
ultrasound picture.
I don't- like I
He is
said.
lying.
Okay, so what did you have at that time?
I had the paper because I went to the urgent care, got the pregnancy test, and I had the paper showing that I was pregnant. It said positive.
Okay.
That's what it was, ma'am. It wasn't no ultrasound.
All right. So, Ms. Lewis, you take the paperwork over to his family,
Yeah.
and you say his mother is happy.
Yes.
What is the response you received from Mr. Milton?
He was all smiling and stuff. He was happy.
Were you happy, Mr. Milton?
Yes, I was.
You were? All right. At what point do your doubts kick in?
When her girlfriend called my mother and said she married an African dude and she was having sex with him.
Oh, you're lying, ma'am.
How am I supposed to feel?
Wait. Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
are you married to another man?
I was married.
You were married to another man?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so were you having sex with that man as well?
No,
If you're
Your
married to
Honor.
him.
No, Your Honor, I
Say
was
the
not.
plot thickens,
So
man.
why would
Oh.
your partner...
Because she was mad at me at the time, so she called Mr. Milton and told.
She didn't call me, she called my mother. Let's be
Same
real.
thing.
So
Your mom did the same thing.
how old was Desire when this call happened?
Young, very young. You know, like I was really trying to be there and to.
But
you know,
now Desire is 4.
Yeah.
I mean, are you in her life at all?
No,
When's the last time you saw her?
it's been a few years.
A few years.
I got proof. This man talking crazy about my baby. He calls her ugly. Oh,
No,
God.
like I called her one time. Look, listen.
She
straight
looks
up.
like you,
Look,
so he calling himself ugly.
One time, look,
She
you ain't gonna
looks
say I
like
insult my
you.
character. Me and her, we having an argument. You know what I'm saying? I get mad just to make her mad. Then she go back and tell the little kid that, what type of person are you? If me and you having a, she went to go tell the little girl. I
Tell
called her
the
ugly.
little girl.
Yeah,
tell her
what type
that.
of person
I
are you?
did
Yes,
not
you
tell
did. You
her
sit right
that.
there and tell
Well,
her.
it's
didn't
bad
tell her
enough.
that.
It's bad enough. You shouldn't be calling a child.
I have proof,
Right.
ma'am.
Let me
Your
see
Honor,
this.
I was just trying to get under her skin, Your Honor. You know what I mean? You know how you mad and two people bickering. Like I said.
But that's not about the child. You don't call a child names. I want to understand what this evidence is. Miss Lewis, what is this?
Of him calling his own daughter ugly.
This is a message from Mr. Milton. You had what?
I think that day, like, I had asked him for some money or something.
Okay,
help.
for desire. And then Mr. Milton responds, got 100 in my pocket. I won't give you 1 red cent, LOL. And then the next line, you and your ugly kid. What? I don't have no kids. Now that's ignorant.
Hey, ma'am.
But you gotta
Your
understand the
ignorant.
Your Honor,
circumstances.
he said, Your Honor, the other day he said the doctor told him he can't have no kids because he been trying to have a baby with Miss Tomato Head over there for a long time.
Watch your mouth, watch
And
your
I
mouth.
told him,
Hold on.
What's wrong with that?
Listen.
Hater.
We're gonna be respectful in this courtroom.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's interesting that you quick to defend somebody, but you calling a child ugly.
But you understand?
No,
she
no,
been
no.
harassing me.
No,
She been
no,
harassing
no,
me.
no, no.
I was mad.
That doesn't matter.
I know.
That doesn't matter. That's
No, it's-
between you and her.
Right.
And you did sleep with her.
Yes.
And you didn't use protection.
You're right.
So you potentially could be Desire's father.
So can her husband.
So look, maybe that's what we're trying to figure out today. Who are the other possibilities? But the point is you don't call a child names. So, Ms. Lewis, I do have to ask you about that. You admit you had a husband.
Yes, ma'am. You know, he was like a friend. He asked me to marry him. I said yes. Young and dumb. That's what it was. Never. I wasn't
Then why you
attracted
go over
to
and
him
have a
like
baby?
that.
Why you didn't have a
Why you
baby
so
by him?
worried about it? I ain't
Why you
marrying
have a baby
you.
by him? For
Why
real.
are you worried
You
about
come over here
who
plotting with
I'm
this man.
married
Come
to?
over here.
Why is he so worried? I don't
Like I said, why you didn't have
But
a baby
Ms.
with
Lewis,
him?
I do have to say,
Hey, why you have a baby with him?
if you get
I didn't have no kids.
Hold on. I do have to say, I mean, in terms of Mr. Milton's doubt,
Right.
if your partner calls his family and says, now you know she has a husband,
Right.
I mean, it is reasonable to assume that you would also be having sexual relationships with your husband. And if his testimony that he saw a sonogram, an ultrasound at 2 to 3 weeks is true, and you also had a husband, then he is very confused about the
Hello.
paternity. I want to hear from your witness, sir. Stand, ma'am, please, and step up to the podium.
Yes, Your Honor.
State your name for the court.
My name is Tiana Daniels,
Ms. Daniels, you are,
David's girlfriend. We're in a committed relationship.
so what are your opinions? You do not believe that is your boyfriend's biological daughter.
No, I do not.
And what do you know about this situation that would lead you to believe this?
I really just think she don't know either, because every time she comes around, she never brings the child. She brings herself.
Herself, she's always
And the
calling
audience.
me and audience friends and stuff. Like, it's never about the kid. It's never
It
about
is
the
about
kid.
my daughter.
It's
My
never
daughter-
about
my
the kid.
kids
Every
come
time she
first.
come around,
Like,
it's never about the kid. Like, seriously.
Well, maybe after
Me.
you call the child a name, she's scared to bring the baby until she approaches you because she doesn't know how you're gonna react to the child. So how long have you been with your current girlfriend?
About 3.5 years.
Have you all been trying to conceive?
Yes, Your Honor.
But you have not been successful thus far.
Yes.
All right. So now that even furthers your doubt more in terms of Desire's paternity because you feel like up until this point, you haven't even been able to conceive with your girlfriend. Maybe this is not your biological
Yes, Your
child.
Honor.
Understood. Thank you so much, Ms. Daniels. You may take a seat.
Yes, Your Honor.
So before I go to the results, are you willing to be in Desire's life if she is your biological daughter?
Only if she comes with me with a proper attitude, correct, because she gets under my skin. I'm not gonna deal with nobody that gets under my skin.
Well, you're getting under my skin because that if it's your biological daughter, your involvement in her life, it can't be contingent.
So I gotta be
upon-
crucified too?
No,
She's gonna
it's
try
not-
to crucify me.
Look. It's not about being crucified. It's about being there for a 4-year-old girl. At this point, at 4 years old, you know if you have a daddy or not. All the other kids are saying daddy. Their daddy's picking them up from preschool. Their daddy's taking them to the park. She's at an age now where she knows. She knows. And I can see tears in her mother's eyes.
You ask her what's her dad's name? She say David. I tell my daughter that. She not dumb. She loves her dad.
Yeah, and I have
might
no
not know you
connection.
like that, but she
I swear to God,
know
like,
him.
I have no connection with this girl. We can have connections, but she chooses not to. She don't want to. Every time I call her, she has.
So you feel like as you try to establish a relationship or a rapport,
He did
which
say he
would be
want
conducive to getting to know the child or at least sifting through this paternity issue, you feel like it's always met with combativeness.
Yes, and I asked her, I begged her, I said, please, look, let's get along. She don't understand it. No. I'm not gonna deal with that. I feel like I should have a life too. You ain't gonna crucify me.
Let's get some answers. Then we can figure out where we go from here. Jerome, I'm ready for the results. Thank you. These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics and they read as follows. In the case of Milton versus Lewis, when it comes to 4-year-old Desire Lewis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Milton, you are the father.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Had to know. I had to know.
You.
It's
God
my right.
got me.
It's my
I
right.
told you.
You planted
All
seeds
right.
of doubt. You
All
planted
right.
seeds of doubt. It's my right to know. You planted that.
Okay, look. Just take a minute and take a breath.
I told you.
How does that feel to finally know for
I
sure?
feel great. No more doubts. No more African men's in the picture. None of that.
When you first found out about Miss Lewis's pregnancy, you admitted in open court that you were happy.
I will.
I want to get back to that page of this book.
She's not gonna allow that.
No. That's it. But see, let me tell you something. You cannot live in that level of negative expectation and expect a positive result, right?
Right.
You really can't. If everything is gonna be, Miss Lewis ain't gonna do this, Miss Lewis ain't Desire is gonna suffer. She's 4 now. We can get this train back on the right track, but you all have to work together. And you guys gonna have to let the past be the past.
I'm gonna let the past be the past because I knew the results. We all heard it. I'm good. I'm blessed.
Well, like I said, I'm just glad
So-
for the results. I'm gonna step up, be a man. Like I said, I
ain't gotta disrespect his girlfriend no more. We ain't gotta argue no more. I ain't gotta disrespect him.
Let the church say amen.
I'm good. I just wanted the answers. That's all I wanted was the answer. Because I knew.
This is good. We have counseling and resources for you both.
Thank you.
Take care of that beautiful little girl. Court is adjourned.